the education of schooling was prepared by my grandfather. Spiritualism was prepared by grandma. Preparing was a very nice thing. So my grandpa one day did the initiation into Saraswati, the puja for Saraswati, and my initiation. And at that time I was, just before six years old, He was putting the, in the altar, everything, all the puja equipment and all these and all the ingredients and everything, the bell and all. And he was saying to me, whatever you will find in this world is with her. Huh? Whatever, whichever time, whenever you grow up, whatever you want to know, it's always with her. Just get from her. So then he was saying, you have to treat the books very carefully. No denting, no, scribbling, no sitting on them, all this. You have to treat everything as sacred. Because if the knowledge there is with Saraswati, if it is not sacred knowledge, you cannot get moksha, you cannot get nirvana. If it is just a stupid knowledge, it won't take you into nirvana. So if it is going to take you into nirvana, you have to respect that knowledge. You have to revere Saraswati. You have to always see it from the perspective of nirvana or moksha, whatever word, or salvation. It's same for me. So that initiation by my grandfather became meaningful to me much later. At that time, I was eating the offerings. For Saraswati, they put rice, dried rice. It's called owl in Indian language. So this owl, they put in milk. And for kids, they put a little bit of sugar. And it's really tasty. So I was very busy eating the owl. And then the puja made sense only when I grew up later. So knowledge is freeing. Knowledge is liberating. Knowledge is what takes you away from limited experiences. Nowadays we talk about experiences, but we are talking about very little sensual experiences, altogether as a community, We don't know more than these sensual experiences. And we cannot believe there can be something more than sensual experiences. Possibility of more than my sense organs. So, but in the spiritual world, we don't question that. We know that everything is above my sensual organs. So that is the beauty of spiritual culture. Coming back to this Saraswati Puja, since then, instead of being antagonistic to knowledge, I became protagonistic to knowledge. I favored knowledge, while other kids never even hear. They're not even antagonistic. They're not even in touch with the knowledge world. And then there are others who always are antagonistic. And then in the modern times, kids are told to question. But what is the basis for them to question? You can see, they like to just make noise. You have to have the system in place before you can question. I keep telling all these guys, please shut up and take the system first. Then you please question anything. And I'm ready. But they don't have a system. So what they have? Anger and structure. Anger and structure is very rigid. And if you're rigid, what do you have? You only have a loose mouth. What I'm trying to say is that the approach towards knowledge is missing. The experience towards knowledge is also very limited. Because we don't allow real experiences. We cannot touch the cow. We cannot, play with the cow. Everything has a time limit. Everything has a space limit. Knowledge and experience shouldn't be separated, is what I'm saying. The moment you separate knowledge and experience, it is just a fiction of your imagination. It doesn't exist. You created it. And what did you create? Dead meat. You're fascinated by the death of things. And for me, this is the linear way of looking at everything. More than linear. This is like, yeah. You don't have an experience, you cannot see more wholesome. So I'm saying that this experience and knowledge shouldn't be separated. The moment we separate it, we become neurotic. And then experience and knowledge is the ladder that we use to climb into transcendence. Yeah, very important. Though it's a simple concept. So without these two, we are talking nonsense. So Saraswati is the central teacher. And she's the white Tara in Tibetan Buddhism. And she's also in the, what you call, Tantras, Brahmi. She is Brahma, the creator, and the essence of the creator is Brahmi. So that was how my grandfather introduced me to Tantra. Then I went to school. But before I go to school, every day, he shares how to understand mathematics, how to understand grammar. And he was teaching me. I was very ahead of the school in my school. I was very ahead. It was such a nuisance. Sometimes I am speaking before the teacher. But the teachers were very kind. Really beautiful teachers, because they never scold me for being such a, whatever. So then it was going on like this. So then I come home, Then my grandma will be talking about Tantra. And she was very, very interested in the Markandeya Purana. And the Markandeya Purana has the Devi Mahatmyam, which is the Navadurga Puja that happens in India, So my grandmother was always talking about this and explaining to me. But as I was going to school, they taught me science. So there were contradictions. They call these, the Tantras, they call it like superstition. And for me, it's like, this is not superstition. My grandmother explained very differently. So anyway, I keep quiet. As a little boy, I have very great discipline. I just keep quiet and listen. Whatever they say, I listen. But the poison is already in my head. So I would come home and think that maybe grandma making mistakes. How does she know? She's an old lady. How does she know anything about science? Maybe science is correct. So this was my backdrop. So what I did, I listened to grandma more. And then, because my grandpa is teaching grammar and maths, I was excellent. So I can understand chemistry, physics, biology all very well. So I was studying this also very seriously to see, And then when things were going on like this, when I was 10 years old, my auntie came from India. She's got a degree, master's degree in women's study. My auntie is probably one of the earliest feminists. And my auntie explained to me the concepts of Freud, what he was teaching. So I became very good in it even when I was very young. By 10, 11, I was very good Freudian. I understood. So then my grandmother was teaching also the Chinese culture. My grandmother is a very, very interesting woman, living a very simple life, but she was very smart woman, not smart woman, So then she was doing all the pujas, she was doing the Devi Mahatmyam's ritualization, she was explaining all this. The beautiful way my grandma teach, my grandmother just teach, she just talk, and I am hearing. This is how they teach in the Tantra world. By constant repetition, you slowly absorb, and after absorbing, you slowly start thinking, analyzing. It's very beautiful how they teach. They don't say, why did you forget chapter 2? They don't never care about all that. So this way she was teaching, and then I follow her, go to the temple, the puja is done. I watched that, So it was very, very beautiful for me to see all these things happen. So like this, I was growing up, and then, but what the school was teaching was contradicting. What psychology was teaching was not so contradictory. What Freud was saying was applicable for us to understand, for us to see, for us to apply. My father gifted me with many, many encyclopedias. So I had the privilege of looking at these encyclopedias. And remember, at that time, when I was a kid, there was no television in Asia. Maybe it was in the US, but not in Asia, not in Malaysia. So then I was only looking at these encyclopedias. Many. Encyclopedia Britannica, then the Funk Wagnalls for children, So there I was looking at psychologists, like Sherrington, John Watson, the founder of behavioral psychologists, the Russian scholars on psychology, Thorndike. I remember that because as a kid I was doing all these things, so it still stays with me. You know what I mean? In the Tantric studies, then I was learning astrology, blah, 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 all those kind of stuff. It's a miracle I passed my schoolwork because I'm only doing these kind of things and Kung Fu. Then in the world of martial arts, it's very interesting because why I say martial arts? Because it gave me clues to understand Tantra more clearly. Most people won't connect these two because they are seeing only the physical things. I was looking at martial arts. In the martial arts world, it is a yoga, but another form. You remember, they are Shaolin monks, they are in the temple, Buddhist temple. What do you think Buddha is doing Kung Fu for? The bloody historian write it as, they're going to protect the Buddha. The Buddha is made of gold. All this bullshit, the bloody scavengers of the highest order. The Buddhist monk is worried about gold? I asked this question. Many of my friends are historians anyway. They will be burping right now. Buddhists are not interested in anything that the world is offering. They are interested in sunya, which means totally empty, devoid of anything from this world, deserted, desolate, complete silence, complete. Nirvana means it's blown off. There's nothing there. So what are they doing then in the monasteries? Of course they're doing yoga of their own kind. Yoga don't have to look similar everywhere. It can be slightly different, no? So yoga in the Chinese world is active. I was lucky because the general of Korea in 1966, he moved to Kuala Lumpur. General of Korea was General Choi Hong-hee. He was an ambassador to Kuala Lumpur. So when he was in Kuala Lumpur, he opened the martial arts schools. And then I was lucky. I had, my father took me to the school. And I'm cutting short everything. One day I'll expand everything. My teacher, he lives in Canada right now. He's old. He's about 86 now. And so this teacher was a very excellent teacher and a fighter. And I was really immersed into it because my grandmother talked about this Bodhidharma. It's also called Tamo in Chinese, Dharma Daishi in Japanese. So my grandmother was talking about him all the time, like he is the founder of the school, blah, 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 blah. So I became very protagonistic to the martial arts world because I thought that was my grandfather with the black eyes, like not black eyes, the pigment around the eyes, So then I was studying Taekwondo. Before that, I started with karate, then I went to Taekwondo. When I was 10, 11, I was in karate. Then in Taekwondo, this brilliant teacher was there, Master Kim Jong-chan. He was teaching. And then he had, his own seniors. Excellent people, really excellent people. So I was learning from them very happily. In fact, I had 16 teachers. They brought me up. In the martial arts world, they shape you. You don't go and talk to them. Sifu, can you tell me this? They give you one slap, one kick in your butt. So they cultured me. My yoga was also very immaculate. At one time, I used to perform better than Iyengar. I mean, sorry to that man. He's a pioneer of yoga. My respects to him. But I'm saying, like, what martial arts did for me. I can show you, one video only you will fall backwards because the Kung Fu kids are doing martial arts. Any yoga master cannot do. They're doing such fabulous yoga asanas in the Shaolin school. No? I don't know if you've seen. They do headstand without support, They bang the head on the back. They do all kind of things. Where the yoga people are so busy worrying themselves to death that if you do some asana, you will break your heart and you will die instantly. Here in the martial arts world, we punch each other, we kick each other. Nothing happened. I'm still handsome. Fuck you for 67. I'm very handsome man. This martial arts, like Taekwondo, was very beautiful. And I was like, wee, very nice. I went there every day anyway. And my teachers were very kind, really kind. So then there were a lot of missing things in my questions. How is meditation? How is this? How is that? There was a elderly Chinese teacher in Kuala Lumpur. His name was Choo Soot. He was explaining concepts beautifully. Then I put together all these and I understood like, wow, So then, even at the age of like 15, I understood martial arts, I think, quite very well compared to many martial artists in this Southeast Asia as a kid. But it's always in relevance with yoga. Not that fabricated garbage that comes from the United States of America. These guys got to wake up. These guys got to honor themselves and learn to honor themselves and not talk nonsense with this, G-string yoga. What I mean is that the quality is not there in the yoga world because the people who do not know yoga created the standards. In the martial arts world, the standards are very good. Meditation was there, preparation of the body was there, preparation of the breath was there. What you call fascia today, they already know thousands of years. You only know the word fascia from 1973 in California. Cut the crap, buddy. All right? Don't utter the word fascia in front of me. Because it's only in the 70s that bloody fascia was understood by the American. Even though it is not really understood, they thought it's bags holding muscles. This is what I was as a young boy doing all these things. Then I understood the martial arts, meditation, what is true meditation, what is fake meditation. Then to my good luck, I was in a temple. It's a 3-story building. And the top floor is the temple, and the down floor is the karate hall or taekwondo hall. So one day as I was doing my prayer and everything and coming down, I saw this man, very famous karate man called Gogen Yamaguchi, with very long hair, with this samurai outfit, with a big sword. And he came to our gate. Not gate, the big door. I was surprised to see him there. Then as I was coming down the stairs, I saw him bow, and the bow was magnificent. Before that, I used to disrespect karate, these Japanese robots, they used to be like mini robots with no soul, From perspective of Taekwondo, I'm a kid. Still I'm a kid. I'm only 15 years old or 16 years old. So from my viewpoint, karate was rigid and not worth my time. But when he came and bowed, it changed my vision of karate completely. Only one bow. So fascinating. He bowed, and as he bowed, so perfect. And then he got up, and then he used to shake his hair, his long hair, and then you shake like that, and all the hair goes back into proper place. And yeah, he's really wow. No apologia, no shame, no guilt, perfect bow, bowing to his own soul, bowing to God, bowing with so much precision. I was like, wow. I went to him, and because I'm closing the school, I'm going home, and said, we are closed. And then he can't speak English. He smiled. All golden teeth, all teeth are gold. He smiled, and then his assistants came. They were all four of them. Then the assistant was saying, "Where is the karate?" See, they were invited by the karate boys, and the karate boys got shy, and they ran away. And he was deserted. So then I had another friend called Charlie, and this Charlie and me, we decided to take him to town and put him in the hotel. And then daily we used to go and meet him. It was fascinating what went on, but I'll cut the story short. So this man and the other master from Kuala Lumpur, the Choo Soot, his name. Choo Soot gave me the idea of karate and meditation very beautifully. And Master Gogen Yamaguchi, when I saw him, I simply fell in love with this whole culture of meditation, the beauty, the strength, and the compassion this man has. Now Tomoko got me a book on what he wrote. It simply agrees with my vision. Even he was talking to me on yoga. He was telling me every day he meditates. There is a waterfall somewhere there in his place, and 10 meters of water falls on his head. So he goes in the morning and meditate. And he was talking about the idea of yoga in martial arts, and then it is written. He wrote a book, and it is in the book. Tomoko was reading for me. A lot of people think that, say, Tantra is only in India, and then they are only studying an aspect of Tantra. But Tantra is universal. Tantra is in Japan, another name. But it is Tantra. You know where Tomoko comes from, the Koyasan temple. It's a Tantra town, really, real Tantra temple. Kekloksi in Penang. It's a real Tantra place, real Tantra temple. But of course the Tantrics are no more. Either they're gone old and gone, or they moved, I don't know. Can't find them. I also didn't go too much. But when I was young, they were practicing Tantra there, Taoist Tantra. Hippies were very prominent, sex was liberated, so nobody was hiding. So I was able to go and participate in these Taoist Tantric practices. I used to go there and be really proud that I am part of the Taoist world. You know, I'm still very proud of my Chinese part of myself. In my description, I'm talking my grandfather and Saraswati Puja. It's amazing. Then I'm coming to my Taekwondo teacher. I think he was Korean champion and also in 1973 world champion. Now, this is bloody lucky. You know, you don't get this so easily. You get taxi drivers in New York, you know, who are Taekwondo black belt. You know, like, You know, there's no content in what they're doing. You know, now, you know, they are looking at Taekwondo kids fighting in the womb of the mother or something. You know, they're crazy perverts, you know. So anyway, now, after that, this master, Choo Soot, you know, who explained meditation and all very brilliantly. Zen made sense. Everything made sense. Then after that, I got so excited, I went and read the Japanese books, you know, Miyamoto Musashi, you know, the Book of Five Rings. You know, it was translated by Thomas Cleary at that time. So I was reading as a kid. And then I went and read the Essays on Zen by D.T. Suzuki. I read all his books. There is another scholar called Hajime Nakamura. Hajime Nakamura, I call him the catalog box. He studied Sanskrit so well. He studied Japanese so well. And it's really like dealing with the library in Japan, you know, like the catalogs. You know, those days, you know, you have catalog boxes. You go A, B, C, D, you know. And whenever I think about Hajime Nakamura, I remember these catalog boxes. That's all he is for me. He's just a box. But whenever I think about Suzuki, he gave you the culture of Zen. Along with it, he gave you many cultures. Shingon is Tantra. You know, so he presents you the Japanese culture. The Japanese culture, which is not easy for us to get anywhere. You know, because this is a Japanese culture. My grandmother knew a lot about Japanese, not only Bodhidharma. She was the one who introduced me to the Chinese philosophy. She introduced me to Christianity. She introduced me to the Quran. It's amazing, this woman, Where she get information till today, I'm not very sure. But I think she got from her Tantric knowledge, which she shared with me all the time. So this is how I grew up, a rough idea of how I grew up and what was Tantra those days. As I was saying, the hippies made the sexuality something to celebrate about, no? So then nobody was hiding, everybody was coming out. Tantrics were coming out, Taoists were coming out, and this goes up to Thailand. I used to go with my grandpa to, visit all the prominent Tantric, sites, communities. So they invite my grandpa. Also in Malaysia, many places, there were Indonesian Tantric. Buddhist Indonesians were in Malaysia. And then there were these Aceh, from the island Acehnese, they were there. So they used to do all the pujas, and my grandpa used to take us. It was really different world I grew up in, very different. A lot of people don't know this, and they think I'm going to the normal school, I'm going to the normal places. But my grandpa had a very secret life, private life, which he shared with me. And this sacred practice, this, that we witness, pujas, how they made the pujas places. The tantrics usually, the Indonesian tantrics definitely make it in the jungle. They make poles, and then they make the lontar, they call it lontar. In Malay, we call it atap, and like India, they have coconut leaves, Thailand also had a very interesting culture of Tantra and all that those days, and my grandma, of course, was teaching me the Tantric principles, Markandeya Purana, and Devi Mahatmyam. They call it the Durga Shaptashati, Chandi Shaptashati, Simply Shaptashati. So this is the Vedic Tantra, a Tantra within the Vedic tradition. It has a history, quite an old history, very old history. It starts with Taittiriya Aranyaka, Taittiriya Upanishad, Taittiriya Brahmana, Taittiriya, it's very old. There are more to this, my growing up and in the Tantra world and everything. But my father decided to send me to education in India. Higher education. So then my martial arts teachers, they wanted me to open the Taekwondo school in India. So I opened the Taekwondo school in India. I was the youngest chief teacher in the world, teaching Taekwondo. I was young. I was the youngest in the world. And that is recorded. That is recorded in the Korean Taekwondo books. My life was always body-orientated, but my desire was always soul-orientated. So, every time I'm doing yoga or kung fu or something, always body-orientated.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
When you say body, you also say you're talking about movement, no? Moving.
Yeah, but in a way not, because in a way yoga doesn't move. No? Mm-hmm. You go completely surrender. Surrender your body, surrender your emotions, surrender even your breath. Then only you can surrender your thinking. Then when you surrender your thinking, then you surrender yourself. When you surrender yourself, then you have the glimpse of the higher self. That is yoga. I like this yoga. It is.
There is a movement. You surrender everything over.
There's no more movement. In both martial arts and yoga, movement is only in the beginning. As you grow, as you progress, when you surrender everything, there's no more movement. You are experiencing transcendence, So you are in the higher dimension. It's interesting anyway. It's interesting philosophy and it's an interesting way of looking at life. My grandfather was a friend of the Sivananda. And Sivananda created the Sivananda ashram. I also met Vishnu Devananda in Chennai. He used to pass by. And one of my very close friend was his student. I only sent him, go and study with Vishnu Devananda. Vishnu Devananda, already a world-level teacher with hundreds of schools all over the world. He is genuinely humble human being. You cannot beat him. You can never beat this man for humbleness. Never. He's always kind. He's always beautiful. So we'll talk about him. We'll talk about Sivananda. Sivananda I never met because he passed away in 1963. 1963, I'm a kid. Yeah. My mom says she has some memories of him. But I don't have any memory. But I know my grandpa talked about philosophy and the differences. Sivananda never used to like Tantra. And my grandpa loves Tantra. So like that, it went on. So we'll talk about this another time. You know, that Saraswati Puja, let me share this with you. I think Saraswati was like looking at this little boy, eating the owl happily. And she guided me because I got the best of teachers. It's not a coincidence. It's like meeting all the superstars in one stage. Like my martial arts teachers, they are world champions. To meet such a teacher like Master Kim Jong-chan. Not only Master Kim Jong-chan, the 16 that is in Malaysia, the Chinese teachers of mine, each one is amazing. And then this Master Kim Jong-chan is like, wow! And he dedicated all his life only for Taekwondo. He was not at all interested in money. And then, that Master Choo Soot, he was into the philosophy. You cannot understand this philosophy if you are not involved in it, And Master Gogen Yamaguchi, I'm telling you, one bow, and that bow is so great, just a bow. I don't think anybody can do the bow anymore. That beautiful he is. And he was in his 60s when I met him, perfect health, perfect mind, no wrong thinking, happy life, happy person. Then I met this Chinese Taoist teacher. And you imagine, all are like superstar talents. And I think my grandfather did some black magic there. The Saraswati Devi sent me to this teacher, that teacher, this teacher. I am the most, how do you say?
Blessed.
In teachers. No? Until the Guru Mai and my grandma at the beginning. So I think I'm very blessed, And so I'm very happy. I celebrate life. People don't understand this simple secret. How to celebrate life. You got to celebrate life. The grace of God is your life. And if we don't celebrate it and not grateful to God, man, it's really shame. I know people are frightened of the word God. I don't care about that. I'm not frightened about God. I love God and I better be in this way, I don't want to change myself.